Welcome to the YouTube Sports Network. Tonight we're going to be talking about the Baltimore Orioles and where they stand organizationally. This is called the Baltimore Orioles Team Report, otherwise known as one of a series of team reports to be due and completed within the next couple weeks or days to follow. One can be hopeful. Thank you for tuning in. All right. Thank you for listening to our station identification, as they say. And the intro, others may call that. They can also both be two separate things. This is the Baltimore Orioles team report. I originally had it written down, team report, up there as well, but I actually had to take it down and instead put up a couple stats up there at the top of the board. Now I see what they mean by when you kind of refurbish an area. I can't think of the exact term, but it's like refurbishing a certain area or neighborhood. I say refurbishing, but it's another proper way of describing it. So I used the area for better. I had better usage for the area. All right. So to the left now is going to be the games played are going to be to the very left of the board are players that are going to be on the team next season. Ryan Mountcastle is there somewhere in the middle. You can see him underneath Adley Rushman, just above Jordan Westberg, excuse me. He, to my knowledge, had an arbitration hearing, or there is a deadline to non-tender players, and that means that people who were or going to arbitration, if a team non-tendered the player today, that means they basically just tell them, or that's making them a free agent. So I'm not sure what's the happenings with Ryan Mountcastle if he's still on the roster. I was trying to look it up earlier, but haven't looked it up just recently. But yeah, because his salary, he has a projected salary, I think of around like $7.8 million. So, and he didn't perform too well in a limited amount of games last year. So we're gonna get to that exactly. But over here in the middle is the free agents, and the red ink is the free agents. And yeah, the guys who were playing on the who were on the team last year, how many games they played, the salary that they played under, how many seasons they were with the team. And blue is the team needs. So for the Orioles, I have them at starting pitching, relief pitching, and offense. I put offense because one or two free agents, one or two they sign would be a major impact. One of the two I'm suggesting, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people would also be suggesting. I'm pretty sure, or maybe not, but I think these guys are good fits for them. And then up at the top we have stats. We have RBI leaders, batting leaders here. We have stats here where they ranked runs a game. I got to put the runners in scoring position. Over here is the projected lineup and the projected bench and starting rotation and who I think they should add in the free agency. All right. So this is the roster breakdown of the Baltimore Orioles, and I think who they should add, who left, some of the players. This isn't a crazy, precise, comprehensive to the T breakdown of, big picture what happened, but this is just giving you little insight. I don't know how well this can do for you, but for instance, Gunnar Henderson, shortstop, Gunnar Henderson. That's where he played. That's his name. That's his age. This though the age is where they're going to be playing next year to start. If I'm not mistaken, I did it that way because Jackson Holliday, I believe, played at 21 years old. He'll be 22. So maybe I should put his age from what he played in 2025, but I put it where I'm just fast forwarding it to where he's going to be playing next season. Should I do that? Who knows? It's my board and my show. How about that one? Imagine saying that and not saying, how about that one? And people would be like, wow, rude. So I got to make a joke out of it. But it's technically true, but I would never really say it in that manner. I would have to say I'm joking. But point is, I almost forgot my point. Or maybe I did forget my point. Oh, their age. So I have them at where they're going to be playing next year. 26 years old. Oh, yeah, so Colton Cowser, 87 starts. Rushman, 28 years old, 90 games. Now, then I got all confused myself. Starts, okay, 84 starts. So this is the lineup. These are the guys coming back. Mountcastle, Westberg, to my knowledge, Mountcastle. Kobe Mayo, young corner, infielder, first base, third base. They're trying to. What are they gonna do with him? What are they gonna do with Kobe Mayo? I think this is a guy that. I think this is a guy that. I think it's better if I stand over here, so I'm standing in front of the camera. It's just not supposed to see me. You're supposed to see what I'm pointing at here. Uh, Kobe Mayo is a kid that he's coming up. He's only about to be in his second year, maybe in the majors. Played in 85 games, 77 starts. Heston Kjerstad was a top 5 pick, I believe, a few years ago. He's 27 years old now. He didn't really do too. He had 4 home runs. Okay, he played left field, he played right field, but not a lot production from him. The year prior, he was a bit better, I believe. Tyler O'Neill. Or I don't have the exact numbers on Kjerstad. O'Neill, free agent signing, 3 years, 49.5. That's who I have up there. $16.5 million. He only played in 54 games. They need him to play. He's 31 years old, going to be, or he is going to be playing under. And 9 home runs he hit last year. I mean, that averages out close to what, 30 or is 30 in that amount of games. But he'd have to play a full season, and his batting average wasn't very good. And he'll strike out. So move on to the stats. This team, along with these guys, O'Hearn, 94 games. Cedric Mullins traded to the Mets. O'Hearn traded to the Padres. Carlson came on after these guys were traded. Laureano was traded to the Padres. Traded to the Padres, he also had in his contract another year on his deal, and it was a club option for 6.5. Hopefully he has another good season. He really earned himself a big, or at least a big payday, or a big increase in pay. So hopefully he can repeat the season he just had. Very, very good underrated season. Urias, he had 5.5 seasons with them, with the Orioles, but he wound up on the Astros, and I just designated for him an assignment. So he's in limbo right now. Mateo, who's been with them for 4.5 seasons, he made $3.55 million. He only played in 43 games. He played center, short, second, third. He's not in a. He's a free agent now, but 31 years old we're playing at, and at this point he's expendable because who these guys have factored in, with the young guys coming in for the younger guys coming in for the Orioles. Emmanuel Rivera played only 1.5 seasons, but he had flashes. Has one of the best beards in baseball, let's be honest. And then the bullpen. They ranked 25th in baseball overall, the bullpen, 4.57. This team, if you guys are familiar with the stat WAR, wins above replacement, they rate them. It's like, another way of saying who's better than who. And the Orioles ranked 23rd in WAR. I looked it up. 23rd in WAR this season. Last year they were 14th. When they won 101 games in 2023, they were second. So they've really been just going backwards, going down. So that attributed to them having a 77 and 85 win season, because you can't, struggling with the bullpen, even though it's not terrible, 4.57. There's been a lot worse. It goes to show you how bullpens have improved across baseball, but not great, but not horrible. But does still, with that, we rank offensively, runs a game. They're 24th in runs a game. They're tied for 24th in batting average. They strike out the 4th most times. Their on base percentage is tied for 23rd, and the slugging percentage is 19th. The highest amount of home runs they've had last season was Henderson and Holiday at 17 each. So yeah, they'll hit I think they had like 191 homers. The top guys were 200, 220 plus, 230 plus. The Yankees were around that range, but leading home run hitter is 17. They need to add a little bit more power. They need to get guys more healthy. They'll increase that runs per game. They'll increase that batting average. I mean, if you're on and off and not playing full seasons, I mean, these guys were doing well enough. They traded them. O'Hearn, Mullins, Laureano. O'Hearn's a free agent. Laureano is one more with the Padres. These guys are free agents currently, but Laureano actually is with the Padres, but he was with the Orioles, so that's why I put him up here. He did play 82 games with them and played really well, like I said. But this is who's left. This is who they have. This is where they ranked. So the addition that they've made recently, they've added actually Taylor Ward from the Angels. So he's 32 years old. Again, he does strike out a good amount of times as well. He hit 30 plus homers, 100 plus RBIs last season with the Angels by virtue of playing a lot of games, playing, not sitting, not doesn't have a short leash, doesn't have to platoon, played. And on a not very good Angels team, but he got his at bats and he's hit 30 and 100. I think he batted around 200, 240. So you had a guy like that. He does strike out. He strikes out a good amount. So do the Orioles. I mean, they need to get some batting average going. But again, Westbrook healthy. I mean, Cowser needs to be healthy. O'Neill needs to be healthy. Mayo, I mean, he needs to get a full season of him. Rushman has to be healthy. So they have, without question, they have upside potential. And then you got this kid, Samuel Basallo, who they signed, who is a young, doesn't have a lot. And again, another guy who is signed to a good, when you initially see it, wow, 60-something million dollars, $70 million, he's never played. And play a little bit, but, they're getting a good value if he performs, and he's going to get the at-bats. So you got to plug him into the DH because you're paying him to play. So he's going to play DH. He is a catcher. If anything, he can spell Rushman. They can switch off. Rushman could be DH because Rushman is a switch hitter and a good hitter. He just had a down season, a few down seasons from these guys. A good amount of down seasons by not playing a lot, but also when they played, not very good statistics. So this team is due for a better season, but they got guys with some swing and miss too. So I'm saying they need to get, to me, a big bopper in a sense where, yes, you got a lot of young guys that graduated to the majors. Them taking a step back, going from 101 wins to 91 wins to 77 to peak and then drop so fast is something went wrong. So you can see not a lot of health there. The bullpen wasn't great. Not a lot of runners in scoring position. They were 27th in batting average in runners in scoring position. They were 27th in strikeouts. 27th also means the fourth most strikeouts. And that happened in 27th fewest plate appearances. So they struck out a ton. And they didn't have a lot of bats in that compared to all the other guys, all the other teams. And they ranked the fourth most, or 27th, in strikeouts. Which speaks volumes to they weren't hitting in those key situations. So they need a guy. This is why I believe we're going to pivot here. We're going to end it here. They need a guy, and they need a Pete Alonso. They need Pete. They have money to spend. Their payroll was $162 million. They were 15th, but they got some money to spend. They really do. Taylor Ward's contract arbitration is apparently going to make around $13 million. That's fair. They can afford it. They got 16.5. That's all right. What is that? $29 million between two outfielders. They got to hit. If they're going to play him, they're healthy. They're going to hit. Hopefully. We don't know about Castle, but he might make around 8. I don't know if they should keep him, especially if they make this move right here. Go get Pete Alonso. They should go get him, and they should literally sign him to a 6-year contract. This guy fits perfectly with the culture of Baltimore. He's a guy that's easily just himself. Baltimore doesn't boo. I don't believe they boo much. I don't remember them booing. And Alonso's a guy that's really a glue type of player. He's a serious player. He wants to win. He produces. He naturally has that charisma, and by being himself, the fans, he has the charm of a baseball player that you're like, this guy I root for. And the Baltimore Orioles fan base and team would rally around a guy like this with the type of career he's had. They need a big run producer in this lineup. Yes, they're young, but the young needs a proven veteran there. And they need that guy. And there's a spot right here at first base. Mayo can, if they move Mountcastle, Mayo can take on the role of Mountcastle. Mountcastle, first base DH, mostly first base DH. They can factor. Maybe he learns to play outfield, Mayo. Maybe he gets some plays in right field. Maybe gets some. He'll spell DH. Maybe he'll play first base, and Alonso will be DH, and Basallo will be catching, or Basallo will sit, and Rushman will be catching like he normally is. There's some flexibility here, right? And Cowser's got to be healthy. If they might trade him, I think they might trade this guy to the Milwaukee Brewers maybe and get themselves Freddie Peralta. I don't know if the Brewers, even though they have a lot of outfielders, maybe they want a guy like this. Maybe they do something else. The point is, I mean, they're going to take O'Neal. I don't think they want that contract. They would probably want to move O'Neal with his money if they could and play Cowser and have maybe sign Tucker. You know, my thing is they can also sign Tucker. That would be this team. Honestly, if I can say if they could sign anybody, I would prefer maybe they sign Tucker because I feel like he's a huge splash. But I think it's more necessary for them to sign Alonso because they need that middle of the bat proven righty, you know, first baseman because they do have a lot of outfielders. Tucker's amazing, of course. He's going to come in at a big, big cost. Alonso a little bit cheaper, and they do have O'Neal signed. Cowser, Young, has a lot of potential. Ward they got locked in there, and then they also have Beavers, who they look 6'5" outfielder, big lefty. Who if this guy really, you know, underrated on base percentage last year. Not about 36 strikeouts, but about 26 walks. You know, and then limited action, and he hit some homers. So had a 400 plus slugging percentage. So let this first round pick. You got to see what this kid can do. Kerstad, I'm not sure yet if they're going to keep him or not, but he still, if anything, is another outfielder. And this kid Jackson batted 276 last year. He played in about 45 games, not as much as Henderson, but if he was to play in, you know, a full season worth of games and he hit 276, that'd be amazing. But I think he played about 40 something games. But I put him up here anyway, 276. The other guys, Laureano batted 290 and O'Hearn batted 283, but they're no longer on the roster. That's why I put them in red, because they're red here. But those guys led the team, and if it was an overall mark for the whole year, they would have, and they kept it from no matter how many games these guys led. But they're no longer on the roster, so Henderson, you know, by virtue of most at bats, probably gets it at 274, and Westbrook 265. So, still, this team can turn it around. I'm telling you, they should sign Pete Alonso. I'm thinking 6 years, maybe $26 million. I say, because if you're not going to pay him at 28, you feel comfortable. I feel like Pete would take long-term years at a very good rate. If he can lock in himself a fair value, 25 plus million, I think he would do it. I think he realizes that's value that is, you know, maybe not out there for a lot of teams to give him. I think that the Orioles have the money and they have the spot for him in the lineup for him to be there. Tucker, like I said, they're going to cost him a lot. It's going to cost him more. So if they can lock him in, maybe a shorter contract and the value he wants, you know, he could be an organizational changing guy, especially for the Orioles. And then Merrill Kelly, they're talking about it. I say starting pitcher because Povich, Dean Kramer, Kyle Bradish, Taylor Rogers, and Tyler Wells. Grayson Rodriguez, they traded away, young up-and-coming starter, who they got. I guess they felt that maybe with the injury he's coming back from, and he's been banged up from here to there for the last couple seasons. They flipped him for Taylor Ward, who's 32, which is pretty odd considering, you know, an older or veteran and like maybe somebody above 30, but a one-for-one swap. But still, I can see this working out for both teams, especially maybe in the short term. But Rodriguez is out, so Wells didn't pitch a lot of games. I think 4 games last year. Rogers just came onto the team, like burst onto the team in 2025, and really like if he can carry this over, I mean he had high potential and he tapped into something. Bradish I think had about 6 starts. Kremer is up and down, but I think he gave him a good amount of starts. And Povich hasn't really proven too much. He'll have his flashes. So they need a guy who's going to get innings. And Merrill Kelly is sitting there, and his projected value is about $15 million. So I could see them signing a guy like Merrill Kelly to stabilize this young rotation and put him up there maybe at 1 or 2. If you want to be safe, put 2 or 3. Veteran, not to, you know, claim the role, but just be there as, you know, stabilizing force. So I can see they should try to go after Merrill Kelly. He fits in with the Orioles. And then as far as relief pitching, they paid Soto $5.35. They paid Dominguez $8 million. They paid Brian Baker, I mean, $700,000. Not much. The Rays are smart. They snagged him. They have him now on the roster. He'll be good there. But these guys, they traded one to the Mets. Soto was Gregory Soto, and then Sir Anthony Dominguez. They played the Blue Jays in the series. They traded him to the Blue Jays. They traded Dominguez the same series they were playing the Blue Jays. The Orioles did. So he just changed dugouts. That happens from time to time. It's the strangest, weirdest thing. It's so cool how it repeats itself. He made $8 million. They were willing to pay. So these guys who I'm suggesting, there's a long list of relievers. I'm going to wrap it up. But these are the guys who I'm suggesting that they should go after right here. And the names are Ryan Stenek, Caleb Ferguson, a lefty, Jacob Junis, Jose Leclerc, and Jordan Romano. All these guys, I happened to pick them out, and they all happen to be, which is a great variable because they're all to me similar as far as their value right now. They're all around $4 million each, which was the perfect match in my eyes. So I thought who they were as players fits what the Orioles are because they're all looking for a little bit of a bounce back. Jacob Junis has underrated value. I think people are going to recognize his value. Maybe especially if he signs this year and has a good year again, or has a solid season. But he's figured something out to pitch in the majors as a pitcher, as a starting pitcher in the past with the Royals, and as a reliever now with the Giants and with the Guardians. So he has something. He knows how to get outs and he knows how to get innings. Romano had a down season, but his pedigree and his recent success prior to down season still gets him at about $4 million. So they're all averaging. If you pick these guys about on the open market, they'd be about $4 million. Stenek, my guy, that's my guy list. I'm telling you, this would be a solid signing. Short-term, 1 year, 2 year signing. Either tradable if they boost their value and they can get something in return, the Orioles, and they can really flip their investment, or they can go ahead and keep them and sign them for an extension, or just write out their contract and maybe it helps them win immediately. I think these are the guys they should target as far as relievers. So to help them in the relievers department, ERA, they could do some bounce back. At least Stenek and Romano, but Leclerc in some way, yes. But I could see him fitting in with the Orioles in some way. I just feel like his repertoire of pitching would fit into the Orioles. And then Junis is underrated, and Caleb Ferguson is one of the top 10 lefties, I feel like, over the last 6-7 years that people don't speak on. But he gets it done. So, and they don't really have much of a proven lefty. Dietrich Enns, I believe, is the only lefty the Orioles have right now in their bullpen, besides Keegan Aiken as well, who actually can be in this list of Orioles who they've developed, who was a starter, they've turned into a reliever, who is now a reliever, and for the last couple seasons, I believe. So that's my report on the Baltimore Orioles. I'm going to end it there. This is I got to really get into it. I'm going to get into the medium I was trying to talk about earlier, but this is what I'm thinking. Go get Alonso. Or go get Tucker. If not, go get Alonso for sure. This is the guy I'm prioritizing right there, Pete Alonso. And I really believe that getting a guy like Merrill Kelly, get Pete for sure, get Merrill Kelly for sure. That's what I think. And definitely go after all these guys. I think they should get Jacob Junis and Stanek for sure. If not Stanek, Junis, I don't know. I'm being biased, but I like these guys to be picked up. I feel like those are value pickups, but more, I think they can help them with their bullpen. And I just think that the Orioles are not far off. I think they can make a couple moves and get these guys healthy and playing, and they can really turn this thing around and get right back into the race. All right, that's the Baltimore Orioles team report. Take care. Till next time.